Hello, everyone. We're learning about stories from famous writers, and in today's lesson, we're looking at the language used by Michael Morpurgo in The Little Albatross. In this lesson, our objectives will be that the learners should become aware of the timeline of the story using the indicators in the story that the writer has used. The learners also become aware of the style of repetition and alliteration in the story, and also plan their own story based on the little albatross. So let's look at repetitions and alliteration. We're basically looking at words and sounds. When we come to repetition, we're talking about the words being used over and again to depict an idea of the severity of how things are, whether they're a lot or they're very few or something, intensity. So that the repetition is done by Michael Morpurgo to give his readers some imagination about what he's doing. An example is fish after fish after fish, to show how much fish the parent albatrosses were snatching up from the water. He also said thousands upon thousands, to show how many there were of the fish or the silver flashing fish they saw beneath them, which is a very important style to use. Let's talk about alliteration. Alliteration is using or repeating the same sound of words following each other or close to each other. So you can have an example as he wrote, silver flashing fish swimming. You see the flashing and fish having the F and SH or the sh sound together. So silver flashing fish swimming. We can have another one saying, out over the surging sea they soared. Out over the surging sea they soared. So we see surging sea and soared, which has the beginning S sound, making the story fun to read. Another example is still soaring high above the gray-green sea. We see that the gray-green sea, having that grr sound, making the story fun to read. How about this famous alliteration? Peter Piper picked a pear of pickled pepper. We have the p all through. Peter Piper picked a pear of pickled pepper. Well, I think that's some good example. You can form your own alliterations and send them to me on Class Dojo. Now, let's look at the timeline when the events take place. How does the writer let us know what is happening and when it is happening? Of course, we know about the events in the story. First of all, we see the parents leave the little albatross and the killer bird is watching. Then we also see that the killer bird is still lurking around while the parents are still wandering at sea. Then we come to the place where the killer bird now threatens the little albatross, but the parents escape in time to save their child. Now that's the general trend of the story. But how do we know when this happens? You see, the writer says, then one bright day, so we know that the story starts on a very bright day. He tells us when this happens. Then later on, he says, that night, it means that the whole time they've come to night. After they left the little albatross, they came to the nighttime. It tells us that's how we know it's no longer day, it's night. Then, finally, we come to when morning came, which means the night has passed and now it's morning in the story. So it's not happening all together at once, but there's a certain sequence or flow to the story. All right. Now, using this, we can plan our story. We can plan our story using what we call the story mountain. Let's look again at how the little albatross is planned. The little albatross is planned with the story mountain idea. The story mountain has the beginning, the middle, and the ending, which means the story has a definite start point where the characters are introduced. The story has how it progresses to see the danger of the little albatross, and then the ending where the little albatross is saved. So at the beginning, the parents leave little albatross and the killer bird is watching. Then, in the middle, the bird is lurking, that's the killer bird, and the parents are still at sea. So, we come to the ending where the killer bird has threatened the little albatross, but the parents escape in time to save their little albatross. Alright, so you can plan your story the same way, having a beginning, a middle, and an ending. Let's look at a simple table that will help us, give us a certain pattern to the story. We can use this pattern where we see parents leave child, another animal threatens the child, the parents can't get back, so the threatening animals get closer. Then the parents manage to get back or escape to scare off the threatening animal. You can use something else or some other animal besides an albatross, maybe a zebra or maybe a dog or a frog, whatever works for you, but you're making a story designed after the style of Michael Morpurgo's Little Albatross. Now, here are some questions you can ask yourself to help you plan your story better. First of all, in planning your story, you can use the WH questions to guide you. Who are your characters? Who are those going to be in your story? Is it going to be a lion, a zebra, or some other animal like that? Where is your story going to take place? Is it going to take place in the cliff top like the little albatross, or in the forest, or in the city, or at school? Then, when does each event happen? That means you have to give us timelines. In the morning, in the afternoon, 100 years ago, something. You have to have a progressive way or a systematic way or an intentional way to show that one after the other these incidents happen. And then, why do the characters do what they do? So you have to tell us a little bit, describe your characters to show, like one is a killer bird, so we know that it's a dangerous bird, so it wants to threaten the little albatross. Tell us why they fly away. For example, in the little albatross, they think that the baby albatross or little albatross is small enough, so parents albatross are willing to leave him alone all by himself, so on and so forth. So use these kind of things to make your story, to think about these to plan your story. And then finally, you tell us how the events move from beginning to the middle to the end, so that we know that you can really plan your story. So you can use the table that I sent earlier on. It will be in your learner's guide. Use it to plan your story. All right, this will be all for today, folks. We shall see you later in the next lesson. Bye-bye.